sexy people of the internet. It is Dave. It's Duncan.
Very casual. What is up? What is up? Then a little break. Sexy people of the internet.
Well, it felt more like a question than a statement there, yeah. Not gonna lie. We are back for another review on Metal Epidemic, and we are going to be checking out, or we have been checking out, the new EP from UK newcore band Break 50. The band's new EP, Every Scream Became a Whisper in the Dark, is out on December 7th. So, formed in 2017 in the south of the UK, Break 50 are driven by a desire to break through the chains of conformity and push the boundaries of their genre. Their music is an unyielding and visceral assault on the senses that is not for the faint-hearted. The band will be dropping their new self-released debut EP on Thursday 7th of December, which is a profound and deeply personal narrative of the band's journey through childhood trauma, which brings with it a monumental and diverse heavy sound. Speaking about the debut EP, vocalist Angus Robertson says this EP serves as a testament to the restorative potency of music as a means of processing and expressing complex emotions. A change in lineup, which includes the introduction of Angus on vocals and Batch on guitar, has injected even more energy and passion into their already electrifying performances. The EP, I think from what I could find online, was produced, mixed and mastered by Ryan Wood at 105mm Studios. So, relatively new band. Been on the go 5-6 years-ish. A few singles released between 2019 and 2020, but this is their first kind of proper release from the band. Yeah, I went back and I checked out the singles. They've only had a few of those out over the last kind of wee while. The previous kind of singles are very, very late 90s, early 2000s new metal heavy.
Right.
They are more new metal than the newer material. There's a wee bit of chimera about it slightly, the older stuff.
Still a wee bit of chimera about this.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. That sounded like I was being accusatory. I've got, we talk about this, the 20-year rule is in effect, so
It is, yeah. It is.
So that's fine.
But a change of members since those tracks were released, so I was keen to hear how they would sound with a few more years of experience on their side. So we've got a 8-track EP, about 22 minutes long. So what do we make? Duncan, what did you make of this debut EP from Break 50?
Well, Dave, there's
Duncan.
a lot to like here. Do a shot now for anyone that was waiting on that in their bingo card. There's a lot of this that feels familiar. And it's clear that they're wearing a lot of influences on their sleeves, specifically from the aforementioned end, kind of the tail end of new metal, as new metal was moving into like heavy or die territory. You know what I mean? We're like we either make it full pop or we go much heavier. Chimera is the band that kept coming up to me like throughout this listen, and there are a few occasions, and once again, maybe not necessarily the Impossibility of Reason, but the album before that, their debut album, which is wrongly accused as being a new metal album, certainly had new metal influences, but it's not really a new metal album. Same way that Slipknot's debut isn't a new metal album, but we're just lumping everything in the melting pot because we can't be bothered. Speaking of which, like, see if Slipknot had released something like this.
Oh, here we go.
Last year.
Listen, anything would have been better than what they released last year.
But see if they'd released something like this last year, I would have been literally saying this is the best thing that band has done in over a decade. Right? What I like about what they do is they mix in, like, at their core, a kind of their new core, some new metal, for sure. But there's like there's an influx of the deathcore about it as well, and big old swaths of hardcore in here, just like gnarly, horrible, metallic, shit the bed hardcore.
Yeah.
And a lot of that comes from, like, not only the breakdowns the band, like, infuse in pretty much all their tracks, but vocally as well. The vocalist tone is definitely more on the kind of hardcore register than it is on a new metal or deathcore register. It actually opens their sound completely up, so I kind of love it, because he's at a register which is kind of a little bit higher than what the music would dictate, but as a result it becomes much more punchy and much more prominent. They've got a ton of tricks in their bag, like they deploy them effortlessly. The opening track of B50 gives you a lot of slam and a lot of bang, and I'm kind of loving it as an opener. But then the cheekiest of cheeky riffs come in with the I Still See You, which is just like a bow, bow, da da da, bow, bow. It's like they're just playful pauses in what they're doing, which are just fucking great. And I imagine in my mind's eye that on stage the band are like holding back to like collectively and synchronized headbang along with that. If they're not, get working, guys. Get it done for me. But it's a switch up between things. Like they love to give you, and this is kind of maybe where some of the new metal comparisons come in. They love to give you that kind of at its core big headbangy riff for a verse and a chorus. But when interludes come in, it's almost like all bets are off. Like one track you'll get like a breakdown, which is pretty savage and pretty sick sounding. But other times they'll get a little bit more playful. They'll start bringing in weird sounds and elements. They're also not against kind of taking elements out as well. This is not dominated by the guitar all the way through it, with like distorted riffs. At times clean sounds come in. Digital effects like will kind of work their way through as well. Tracks like a Red Glow, which is later on in the album, has a lot of shit happening, kind of that deathcore thing of kind of modern deathcore, of using like synth sounds almost through the entirety of the track, just as like a wall of sound, which in the case of this one is less to make it sound uncomfortable, but actually to aid the bits where the band go a bit glitchy. It's really fucking smartly done. And as a result, it sounds huge. Production is absolutely savage. The snare drum's got a big old fucking pang behind it. It's like nice and tight and compressed and hard hitting and kind of awesome. Production across all the instruments is kind of fucking amazing. And then they, like I say, they use like Chimera-esque techniques of kind of interesting bass drum things while the guitar's playing something a bit more conventional over the top of that. Dreamland is a great example of that, where the drums sound very, very busy and the guitar isn't really doing that much over it. But it's really cool because when the lead work on the guitar comes in over the top, about the same time as the vocals kick in, it makes it sound fucking huge. It finishes super strong. It's 8 songs long. It's about 23 minutes in length, so it never overstays its welcome. And if it's taken them a couple of years to refine their sound, to put their best foot forward with an EP, I think they've kind of done it here. There isn't an element that I disliked at all. Even the guest vocals that come in on Dreamland, which are in a completely different register to our vocalist, they're in the kind of guttural, like that. It works as a guest vocalist that comes in, adds a bit of layer to that as well, because a lot of the stuff is on a higher range with the lead work and all the rest. And they're brought in over the kind of savage, kind of syncopated, synced up guitar sounds. I kind of love this. I don't necessarily think Break 50 do anything I haven't heard any band do before. I think their combination of kind of new metal in the background as a component is kind of becoming a bit popular now. I actually think had this come out a little bit earlier in front of maybe something like an Alpha Wolf, it wouldn't sound as remarkable, but new metal is on the upswing at the moment and are bands that are playing heavier versions of it, which if anything just I think strengthens their case. It reminded me at times of if like a band like Vacant Stare came out now, what would they sound like? And they would kind of sound like Break 50, and I kind of love that element about it. The differentiation between British styled new metal and American styled new metal was our stuff was always a bit grittier, and it fucking perfectly fits over this. So yeah, this is one that is surprisingly easy to listen to, very fucking nasty, and just full of moments to just make you want to fucking headbang and jump around the house until your family leave you. So yeah, I thought this was really, 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 really good, and another band that we will be keeping a watchful eye on, and I kind of hope that this gets some the buzz and the attention to go and put a full length out, because I'd be curious to see what that looked like.
Yeah. Nice.
What about you, Davey boy?
Yeah, well, as I said, I checked out the previous singles and I was like, okay, that was cool. Bit of a,
was that with the old singer, or was it the same?
Old singer, yeah.
Right. How much of a change is there in the vocal register?
Very big. Huge, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can, like, as soon as I started playing this, I could hear there was a massive upgrade in pretty much every area of the band.
Right.
It sounds far more modern than they did on those previous singles. It still has that kind of new metal streak, but as you said, it's got a modern punch to it, which is bringing in metalcore and hardcore and a little touch of deathcore as well. Yeah, I felt the same as you. The EP starts extremely strong with B150, which is, I mean, even you probably class as a kind of limbering up type track, you know, just a little bit of, okay, here we go, let's just get stretched and ready to go. It's only like a minute and a half, but 40 seconds of that is like intro and outro.
Yeah.
But they do go pretty hard, even in that little short space of time. And the riffs are hella chunky on that first track. So I was definitely like, okay, this is cool. I want to hear where this is going to go. And then track 2 was probably where my interest was completely peaked. I Still See You is, for me, probably the highlight of the EP. This has everything you want from a genre like this. It is colossally heavy. They hit you with constant switch ups in the tempo and rhythmically. Very well structured to keep you kind of constantly in the middle of it, but without feeling kind of lost at any point. They repeat certain parts throughout the track, so it never feels like it's, you know, too all over the place. And as you said, they cleverly insert that little touch of melody. They add it in early on in the guitars, just kind of subtly. So then when it drops later in the track, it feels connected. The melody for me was a little bit Deftonesy, not gonna lie, but I liked the use of it. I think it broke the track up nicely. Nice mixture of textures and contrast on the track. Plus they do something really cool from a drumming perspective by adding in a really like good pace kind of blast beat in there as well to give that kind of part a different spin, which I really liked. Also ends with a fucking mammoth of a breakdown. It just fucking hits you out of nowhere as well, because they do that kind of fake fade out, which makes you think, all right, track's done, we're moving on to the next one, and then they just fucking smash out of nowhere. I thought that was really well done. And then we've got a selection of tracks that stick within that kind of like new core or new metalcore kind of meets hardcore vibe, heavy as balls. I agree with you, the production from Ryan Wood gives these tracks just huge amount of weight. The rhythm section is just huge sounding, and the bite in the guitars, it's very metallic sounding, but it sounds awesome. So a really good kind of chunk in the middle, plenty going on technically. I like the little kind of drum and bass type interlude on track 4 as well, Jitter. Yeah, I thought they were good. I was kind of like, after hearing that track 2, I was hoping for maybe a couple more surprises, you know, but it didn't really do a huge amount of that. The melody only really came out on that second track. But then as you move towards the kind of end of the EP, you've got Dreamland, which has got probably the kind of thickest of kind of guitar riffs on it. Such a killer groove. And as you said, it's also got that additional vocal from Ben Mason. I think he was in Bound to Fear, or is in Bound to Fear. I think that's who that is. And I think the additional vocal tone makes all the difference on that track. I love Angus's tone on the EP. I prefer his tone to the previous vocalist. But I think adding in that other kind of low register really fucking adds a bit of impact to that track. Second Skin is a really good closer as well. It's really kind of dissonant in the breakdowns, which I they kind of pair it up with this kind of weird kind of disco beat thing, which was just like, what? Where did that come from? But it was really cool. It actually went really well together. Not the first band to do that this year. I've heard about a couple of bands do the old kind of disco beat with something really heavy.
It's back. It's back, Dave. Never went away.
It's cool. Again, a little bit of clean guitar in there as well, which kind of echoes back to that I Still See You track. And that, for me, that was cool because it kind of tied everything together on the EP. And I like when they add that little bit of melody, it kind of opens up their sound even more. I kind of got to the end of this and was like, I kind of want to hear more. Like the EP was cool, but I kind of feel like I want them to explore it even more, and try experimenting a little bit more. I think they've got more in the tank, to be honest. There's a lot of good ideas here, and they're showing a ton of promise on this. This is just their debut EP, but I think these guys have got bigger things to come. To be honest, they're definitely onto something for sure, and I imagine that kind of jump in quality they've had from the previous singles to this EP is massive, and I expect that when they pull out the next EP
Jump
or album,
again,
there's going to be another jump as well. So definitely interested to hear a full length from Break 50 for sure. Okay, so scores for the new EP from Break 50. What are you scoring? Every Scream Became a Whisper in the Dark.
So yeah, like I say, it's reminiscent of a lot of stuff that I liked when I was in my informed years of getting into heavier music. So it scratches that itch for me.
Yeah.
I think they utilise their songwriting really well. I think they're playful at times, heavy as fuck. I think there's plenty of room to grow here, but as an opening effort and an EP, it's fucking great, and I think they should be immensely proud. And I want to hear that album. It's a 3.5 from me, Dave.
Yep. I'd completely agree. 3.5 from myself as well. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I loved the little bits of additional kind of experimentation in there. I'd like to hear them kind of explore that even more. Stick with that. That production's killer though, so I wouldn't change a thing there. I think it sounds fucking awesome, really heavy. Lovely guitar tone on the EP. So great job on that front. So yeah, it's a 3.5 from me as well. So that is the new EP from Break 50, which is out on December 7th. Links below to the band and the pre-order. Check it out, let us know what you think. And that is the review. Thanks for checking out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone. Balloons.